Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Desperation had a smell, and if anyone had walked into Cane Ashby's private rail car that night, they would have caught it instantly. Sharp whiskey, stale regret, and fear so thick it seemed to press against the windows. Cane Ashby had always prided himself on being a man with a plan, a man who could charm a room, close a deal, and talk his way out of almost any disaster. But there was one thing he had never truly mastered, keeping the people he loved from slipping through his fingers. And now Lily Winters and their twins, Matty and Charlie, were gone. Not gone in the permanent sense, not gone in a way that required police tape and condolences, but gone enough, off the grid, no forwarding address, no soft late-night calls, no angry texts, no second chances. The longer they stayed away, the louder the silence became. Cane stared at his phone for what felt like the 1,000th time, no messages, no updates, no mercy. He had left a voicemail days ago, a rambling confession directed at Phyllis Summers of all people, and even he had to admit it sounded like it came from a man unraveling. He had spoken about understanding, about forgiveness, about how he didn't blame her for the chloroform stunt, the outrageous, reckless move she'd pulled in her quest to wrest control of Newman Enterprises. He had said he understood why she'd gone that far. Because he had promised her the world once. And then he had ripped it away. Phyllis Summers was many things: brilliant, ruthless, impulsive, but above all, she hated being humiliated. When Cane had dangled power and partnership in front of her only to yank it back, it had lit a fire under her that even Victor Newman hadn't anticipated. Victor! The name alone tightened Cane's jaw. Phyllis believed she had beaten Victor, outsmarted him, claimed a slice of Newman power that would finally command respect. But power built on chaos never lasted in Genoa City. Cane knew it, and deep down so did she. A knock at the door of the rail car broke his spiral. The attendant informed him that Phyllis Summers had returned from Milan and was expected in town within hours. Cane exhaled slowly. It was time. Phyllis stepped off the private car with the confidence of a woman who had just conquered a continent. Milan had been glamorous, dramatic, and deliciously validating. Word of her maneuver against Victor had traveled fast. For once, she hadn't been the punchline, she'd been the headline. But headlines faded. And as she climbed onto Cane's train, the faint scent of whiskey reached her before she even saw him. He looked frayed. His tie hung loose, his hair was slightly disheveled, there was a redness in his eyes that told her he hadn't been sleeping. Or maybe he had been drinking. Wow, Phyllis said coolly, setting her designer bag down, you look like you just lost everything. Cane gave a humorless laugh. That's because I did. The words hung between them. For a moment the old dynamic flickered, the spark, the tension, the what if that had once nearly consumed them. But this wasn't about seduction. This was about survival. I meant what I said in the voicemail, Cane began, running a hand through his hair, about the chloroform, about Newman Enterprises, about everything. Phyllis crossed her arms. You're forgiving me now. I understand you. That caught her off guard. You promised me partnership, she reminded him sharply. You promised me we'd take over the world together, and then you decided I wasn't good enough to stand beside you. I panicked, Cane admitted. I tried to play it safe, I tried to play smart, and I hurt you. Phyllis's eyes narrowed. She had expected anger, accusation, a lecture. Not humility. And now she asked carefully. Now I'm scared. The confession cracked something open. Lily's gone, he continued. Matty and Charlie are with her. I've let them down too many times. I keep thinking I'll fix it tomorrow, and then tomorrow never comes. Phyllis's expression softened just slightly at the mention of the twins. Cane stepped closer. I don't blame you for fighting for power. I don't blame you for trying to control Newman Enterprises. If I were in your shoes, if someone had promised me everything and then pulled it away, I might have done worse. You might have, she shot back. He almost smiled. Okay, I definitely would have. Silence settled between them again, but this time it wasn't hostile. It was calculating. Because Phyllis Summers never heard vulnerability without looking for leverage. What do you want, Cane? She finally asked. Another deal. Her eyes flashed. You already reneged on one. I won't this time. Cane poured himself another drink but didn't offer her one. She noticed that. I lost Arabesque, he said, but I'm not broke, not even close. Phyllis's pulse quickened despite herself. You're clinging to Newman Enterprises like it's the only path forward, Cane continued. But that empire isn't yours, not really. Victor will fight, he always does. And you think I don't know that? I think you're tired of fighting alone. That hit too close to home. Daniel barely spoke to her anymore. Summer looked at her like she was radioactive. Her children didn't respect her power grab, they resented it. She had conquered Victor's boardroom and lost her family's faith. Cane saw the flicker of doubt. There's another way, he pressed. Name your dream company, something you want to buy or something you want to build from scratch. Phyllis blinked. Excuse me. I'll fund it, all of it. Now she laughed. You think you can just buy me off? No, I think I can invest in you. He stepped closer, his voice lowering. You don't need Newman Enterprises to prove you're brilliant. You don't need Victor's shadow hanging over you. Build something that Daniel and Summer could actually respect, something they could even be part of. Phyllis's mind raced. A fresh start. A clean slate. A company that wasn't soaked in Newman blood and rivalry. You're asking me to surrender Newman, she said slowly. I'm asking you to trade it. For anything else. Anything. Her heart pounded. Because Cane wasn't bluffing. And desperation made him dangerous. The next morning, the weight of Cane's offer hadn't faded. Phyllis paced her suite, replaying every word. Surrender Newman Enterprises. Take literally anything else. It was outrageous. Tempting. And possibly brilliant. Meanwhile, Cane stood at the window of his rail car, staring out at a grey Genoa City skyline. He had laid everything on the lines. If Phyllis walked away, he'd be exposed emotionally and strategically. But if she said yes, he could dismantle the chaos before Victor struck back. He could redirect Phyllis's ambition into something sustainable. And maybe, just maybe, he could prove to Lily that he was finally choosing stability over ego. His phone buzzed. A text from Phyllis. Meet me at Society. The restaurant hummed with low conversation when Cane arrived. Phyllis sat at a corner table, immaculate as always, composed, powerful, calculating. Let's say I'm listening, she said without preamble. Cane slid into the seat opposite her. You don't just want money, he said, you want legacy. She didn't deny it. You want your kids to see you as visionary, not volatile. Her jaw tightened. And you want to stop reacting to Victor and start leading. Phyllis leaned forward. You really think Daniel and Summer would respect me more if I walked away from Newman? I think they'd respect you for choosing something that isn't built on revenge. That's strong. But it was true. Cane continued, voice steady now. Pick a sector, tech, fashion, media, something innovative. We build it from the ground up, your name, your rules. And you bankroll it. Yes. And you stay out of my decisions. He hesitated only a second. Yes. Phyllis studied him carefully. You're not doing this just to save me, she said. No. To save yourself. Yes. There it was. Honesty. My family is falling apart, Cane admitted. If I can stabilize this situation, if I can prove I can make a smart, long-term decision instead of chasing chaos, maybe Lily will see that. Phyllis's eyes softened again. Because she understood that fear. The fear of losing your children's faith. The fear of becoming the villain in your own family's story. Victor might eventually claw back Newman Enterprises. That battle would be brutal and exhausting. But building something new, that could be empowering. What happens if I say no, she asked. Cane met her gaze. Then we both brace for impact. She smiled faintly. You're more honest when you're desperate. I'm done pretending. Phyllis leaned back, crossing her legs. You're right about one thing, she said slowly. This Newman situation won't last forever. Victor was too powerful, too patient, and too ruthless. If she struck a deal now on her terms, she could exit as a strategist instead of a casualty. "I want full control," she said finally. "My board, my hires, my branding." "You'll have it. And if this blows up in your face?" Cane allowed himself the smallest smile. "Then at least I'll know I tried to do something right for once." Silence. "Then, draft the paperwork," Phyllis said. Cane blinked. "You're serious?" "Completely." A new alliance was born in that moment, not built on seduction or manipulation, but mutual desperation and ambition. Outside, Genoa City remained unaware of the shift that had just occurred. Victor would sense it eventually. Daniel and Summer would have opinions. Lily might question Cane's motives. But for now, Cane felt something he hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. And Phyllis. She felt power not stolen, not wrestled from Victor's grasp, but chosen. As they stood to leave society together, the air between them buzzed with possibility. Deals in Genoa City rarely ended cleanly. But this one might just change everything. And somewhere far from the chaos, Lily Winters held her children close, unaware that the man she once loved was finally trying to become worthy of them again. Whether it would be enough remained to be seen.